Did it say it like this last time? Said you're live on it.
I thought it. Yeah. Okay, we are live now.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
So, I think we were on
Is our
time
music
today.
still on?
Oh yeah, our music's still on. Yeah, great. That's intermission music. For those that follow us on our channel, we just came off an intermission and we have a funny story. So, I'm gonna turn off the intermission so now you can probably hear me. So we just came off intermission, and I have a funny story to tell you guys.
Mhm.
So we've been broadcasting for the last 40 minutes.
Yep. 40
Best
full minutes.
content ever.
It was actually really good. I learned so much.
But somehow the feed didn't go live.
Yeah.
So
It was a whoopsie doodle.
yeah. So if you're waiting at 8 o'clock for us, we're really sorry on that. And we know that we probably lost like all our potential subscribers that we would have this week. But,
Yeah.
that was a technical difficulty. So we're gonna give you a quick recap. And we're just gonna go right into whatever because we don't know how we can recreate the level of detail that we went into.
Yeah, especially after just the disappointment of finding out that we didn't that was not live. So,
Yeah.
but we could always go over it again some other time.
No, probably not. Because now we expect everybody to know it. You know?
Yeah.
We'd be like, just go back to our mystery video that nobody ever gets access to. Actually, there's a 2-second one where I turned it on, turned it off, trying to figure out what happened. So if you see that one on there, it's going to get deleted here in a second. But so we're on this American. See, they'll even totally miss how they can do the hustle with the NFTs and everything. Wow, that's so good. I need to make coffee because I only had a little bit of coffee. Oh. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this wonderful Saturday morning. If you are still here, if not, you can watch this whenever. It'll apply for about a day, and then after that, all the information in it will probably just not be worth anything. Oh yeah, I was thinking of exactly that type of thing, but then I was like, we can't make the information explode, so it just won't be. Won't be useful. But we're starting here. This is a really cool picture of
It's pretty famous.
a sister and a brother, right? Is that correct?
I believe so. Yep.
And they are working on their family farm. And I'm making up the story because I don't know really anything about it, but I do like the picture.
Me too.
So,
you want me to Google it? I'll tell you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Google and tell us the story. So today we talked about. This is so funny to talk about it in the past. It's like we prepped for our thing, and our prep is always usually just like catch up about personal stuff and hi, how you doing? What's been going on this week? Those types of things. And then the show that we had is usually our first stab at it, but I mean, we've read the links and we've talked about, what we're going to talk about. And, if we had any code that we were prepping, we'd prep that, stuff like that. So it's really interesting recapping the recap that we've already talked about. So we're going to start here on the Fear and Greed Index. This is where we started earlier. I was talking about it. It's so funny. It is really important because of what it reads. I wanted to bring it up and make sure that we concentrated on it. And for those that are just listening and that can't see, we're on a website that is showing a little gas gauge speedometer meter. I don't know what is this index? What is the graph chart? I forget what it's called. But the little gauge, and right now it is sitting at extreme fear with the number of 23, and it is due because if you flip over here and you follow crypto prices, there was just a drop from not a very big high of 43,000 down to 42,000. But this doesn't measure just the price. The reason we bring it up is because it's a really, really cool and interesting algorithm, and it plays into stuff that we'll work on this channel. And it measures multiple different areas, data sources. I had a much better word earlier. See, it's just like the whole flow's off. And, yeah. But so we got to speed through this too because we want to get to the second part because it's already boring to me repeating the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is all news to us. That's what's so funny. Oh man, like we haven't had a fail at that level for a while. For what, 3 episodes or something? I think.
Yeah.
Out of our 7.
It's pretty. It's at this point, it's standard.
Yeah, I didn't even get that mad. There was just disappointment. That's what the best part was.
So sad.
It wasn't.
Well, I think the best part is we both did it at the same time. I was just about to unmute myself and be like,
Yep.
Anyway.
So fear and greed, the data sources, it pulls in multiple data sources. And what's really cool about it is it weights each of its different data sources differently. And then where, this applies to people that write stuff for business software, you can rate different things if you're trying to analyze your customers or your vendors or, sales histories or item, whatever. I mean, just if you want to build a report that pulls in multiple different factors from different data sources and you apply a weight to it, which is how much it influences the overall output of the algorithm or, whatever you're trying to measure, is a really cool tool. And we'll touch on that. I forget exactly what that falls under. I think that's under like neural networks, but it's just fancy words. So we'll try to break that down eventually. But the reason I wanted to draw attention to this is because this is a cool tool for those people that are trying to buy and sell. They're trying to trade maybe cryptocurrency, or maybe when people want to know when is an okay time to get in. If you wanted to get into some of the coins. Another reason that you might want to read this, I was just thinking of, is if you're trying to mint NFTs, you'd want to know when the prices are low, because that would be what you'd want to do. You don't want to mint them when it's all expensive and you got to buy your Ethereum or your Polygon tokens all, when they're at the super, super expensive side. So you kind of might want to use this for that, as one of your tools. This isn't an end all be all. You don't look at this and you make a decision based off of it. That's silly. And so what it measures, the different data sources are volatility, market momentum, social media, surveys. Surveys are currently paused, dominance, and trends. And each of them have a different weight to it. So they weight volatility and as 25%, and then market momentum / volume. So market volume, how much people are moving, like how much is moving in the market. Is people buying a lot, people selling a lot, not prices, but the overall volume. And that's weighted 25%. So between those two, 50% of how they come up with wherever they arrive at 23 is, from those two factors. The other 50% is from the other factors, which looks like they've adjusted because this would have not added up correctly. So you got 10, 10. Oh, I guess it still doesn't because I can't do math. So, yeah. So, it still doesn't add up correctly. So we don't know where that extra 15% is going. But they got social media, dominance, and trends. Do you want to take a stab at it since you claim you understand now?
I didn't claim that at all.
I think you opened the show with "this was old news. Let's move on. I understand this all." So that is what I heard. We'll have to tune into chat. What's chat have to say about that? Grandma, what do you think?
Did I say that I understood it, or that
best.
I was listening. Can you repeat the question, please? And I would.
I don't think Jeopardy does that. Does Jeopardy let you repeat? Like, oh man, I don't know who's hosting it nowadays. Keith Jennings or the Jennings guy, maybe. I don't know. But you can't ask for them to repeat it because somebody else has already buzzed. It's time to go. The question was.
This is more like Family Feud.
Family, yeah, Family Feud. Yeah, exactly, because he just make fun of you a little bit. Yeah, the survey says, and you're like, oh, it's not on there, man.
Yeah, most often I fail, and then,
yeah. So, no, I was just asking you to explain, in your words, what the social media measurement, the dominance measurement, maybe the trends measurement meant, if you knew. Because we just went through the volatility and the volume one. So.
What I got, yeah, the dominance and the trends one, to be honest, I didn't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
The social media is just the information that's out there, or what people are, not the information that's out there, what people are talking about in social media. Is it interaction rates result in growth?
So this is what you would
read it that fast.
Yeah. No, this is what you would translate, I would say, into your own words. This would be like the takeaway, when you're skimming or whatever. So, what's social media? Influencers, people that try to promote things that people pay them to promote. I don't know, because gone are the days of promoting. Like, you can't trust that people actually use this crap, like, or do stuff or whatever. Like, how do you do that? So, to me, the social media, and then this is where I'll let you rephrase it to how, if I hit it or didn't, however you interpret it, right? Social media. It's used there to just see if people are talking about it, not talking about it, what they're saying. We'll touch on sentiment analysis through, we'll do it through Python, obviously. And, well, when I say obviously, it's not obvious, but that's what our channel is going to try to learn. So, we're going to try to focus on Python a lot more than our professional programming languages, only because it's new and exciting. And that's it, really.
Well, do they? Do they take ads into consideration with this? Because I guess that's where I was kind of
confused. I would hope so.
Social media is it's maybe not necessarily, like, not always. Well, I guess that's what you were kind of saying, right? Where people are getting paid, or influencers are being paid to talk about specific things, but just like when you're on Facebook or any of the other sites and there's just ads up, are those things taken into consideration? Like, how, are ads showing up for certain people? I don't know. Like,
well, right there, that, it explains what they're doing, but as you were talking about it, yeah, that is a killer data point. You would measure the increases and decreases in number of ads on people's pages related around cryptocurrency, and then more specifically related around specific coins, right? But if you wanted finer data points, that would be a great ad. It looks like here they say they still haven't finished the sentiment analysis, and for people that don't know what sentiment analysis, it basically reads text or voice translated into text and converts it into positive, into how that it perceives that you meant it according to feelings, right? It's kind of like I'd say the most basic way to. So it kind of says, hey, this had a positive tone, this had a negative tone, neutral tone. But then you can go more specific. I think there's like 7 different degrees for the most complex commercial one I've seen. I'm sure there are better ones that we're not allowed to use. But so they don't have that turned on. And then it says their Twitter analysis is running. They gather posts count posts on various hashtags for each coin. So they're just looking at the hashtags. So since you got two people that really at this point don't care about doing the hashtags, and then like like how many other people are not caring? Oh, well, I guess the people that want to turn their channel and get more than 13 subscribers probably do hashtags. But so then they check how fast, how many interactions they receive in certain time frames. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's a really cool measure. It'd be cool to build that. So then they look at the interaction. So they kind of measure it, but I think your ad angle, that's a good one because that would measure advertisers because somebody's got to pay to put those ads there, right? Mm-hmm. That's where they're making their money, and then so that's an interesting measure. I would add that in for sure, but you might break it out. Right. So then we got dominance. So the dominance is this. Let's see what they say. Since Bitcoin is coming a safe haven of crypto, on the other side, become okay. Yeah, that's exactly the way I would explain it. So we looked at over here at the top of CoinMarketCap. You can see this thing that's called dominance, and they compare Bitcoin to Ethereum. And Ethereum is supposed to be like the poster child for alternative coins, which whenever you hear somebody say altcoin, that just means not Bitcoin. That's really what that means. So whenever you read that in articles that altcoins are beating Bitcoin, or altcoins, or these are the 3 top altcoins, or anything, like I see it as one of my tabs right here, altcoin roundup. Like, okay, so first, if you don't know what altcoins are, and they're basically, it's alternative coins to Bitcoin. So it's really silly, but this dominance measures, is Bitcoin a better store of value, or are the altcoins? And the way to think of it is exactly as they explained down here. So this fear and greed thing is really pretty accurate too. Altcoins, huh? What?
I said for today.
I mean, for today, yeah. Yep.
To be.
For altcoins, they seem to be the more risky investments because they're not tried and true. They're newer. They're not as proven. They're not the initial starter like Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first, the one. And so that one has the most history, and it has a limited number, and they're slowly running out. And as people buy more, then, like I said, think of it as, like I said, they didn't even know. It's like gold. There's going to be a limited amount of it. And it's even going to be better than gold in a way, unless quantum computers blow it up. But because you could find gold on another planet. You can't find more Bitcoin on another planet. That's an interesting thing. I just thought of that. You know what I mean? If you can go to other planets and harvest all our precious gems, minerals, like so abundantly, right? If you could travel anywhere, even just in our solar system, you could pretty much mine, and say you could travel anywhere in the solar system and bring it back, right? You gotta have that part too. Yeah. Can't just get there. And you can transport back whatever you wanted. You had teleporters, just even make it easy. Then is that stuff really valuable then? But Bitcoin, you can never recreate it. It's very interesting. So unless the quantum computers break the blockchain, then it's actually truly limited. So
hey, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you need to recalibrate.
What's wrong?
You're like all over the place.
Oh,
it's kind of funny.
Kind of funny, but not distracting.
A little bit.
Oops. All right, there we go. Hopefully that's recalibrated. So that's animes. So what we did, for anybody that is always curious about what we do with our overlays, we use animes, and you hit Control C, and it basically recalibrates probably the points on your face. If we ever do facial recognition, we'll talk about that, which I expect we will. And so, but yeah, altcoins versus Bitcoin. So altcoins are considered more risky. What are altcoins? Everything that's not Bitcoin. So that includes Ethereum. Ethereum's the leader of the altcoins, so that's why it's up here. And for the dominance. And what they basically talk about is as people get more greedy, they do more of the risky investing in the altcoins, and they're hoping that they can promote the next big thing, right? That you get in at the bottom level, everybody's dream, buying the lottery ticket. And so that's why once those all start falling, markets pull back, everybody gets smart and it's like, oh, that was silly. And then they put it all back into Bitcoin. And so this measures that, flow back and forth. Is the dominance of Bitcoin stronger? So are people putting more money into Bitcoin? Are people putting more money into the altcoins? And so that's what this measure is. And then as it becomes, I guess more even, then it's kind of just they're both growing. So I don't know. I don't really follow that trend too much. Oh, that's just the crypto fear, greed. I thought it was this one. Yeah, so right here, let's see, is this it? Yeah, who cares? So then you had trends down on the bottom, and it looks like basically search trends, search information. So
Yeah. So we're helping to up that number.
oh yeah, all right. So that's what we covered earlier. This is a very useful tool, because when you look at this, usually when it's low, people are selling. Selling is usually associated with drops in the market because people are scared. People didn't know what they bought. People were hoping to cash in and then got in too late or had to go to work and it all changed overnight, or whatever. There's all kinds of different reasons why you don't hit it
They
right.
sound like personal experiences.
Oh, no,
I had
no,
to go to
no.
work.
I had to go to work. No, 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 no. No, because if you want to follow certain people, it does seem like the best advice is just to hold. But no, that's exactly it. It changes. Like if you follow it, sometimes it changes at 3 a.m. No, I do look at the charts and you can kind of see you set it down to like hourlies and you kind of see when people are doing their trading volumes, things like that. And it'd be really cool to chart it out, but I'm sure people are. But over here, that's what we were talking about there. And then we got into, I remember we had to finish this page before the break.
Yeah.
If we would have just stopped, we would have found it earlier. So trends in the blockchain. There's going to be continued investment. I don't feel like doing a deep dive. I don't think there was really much out of that. Developers. A lot of developers moving into the blockchain. So that's hence why we are talking about this. Hopefully we can inspire and, like somebody will tell us about their cool project and we can interview them and, ask questions about it and get as much information that they're allowed to talk about. Cause obviously they're not allowed to talk about stuff.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And that's, yeah. Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, we'd love to hear about any blockchain projects. We'll talk about ours, anything that we may think of and work on, that we're allowed to. If it's something company related, we definitely can't talk about it. But so there's going to be more investment. It's just going to happen. I believe. Oh yeah, the thing that why? Because they're replacing networks. Do you want to dive on that more? Remember the first time I went through that? So currently, you got a lot of systems that can't talk to each other, right? So company A, company B, C, D. If you're looking at all the people you buy from, all the people you sell to, you got to transfer money around. That's one thing. Another thing is you got to transfer the goods around, goods and services, whichever it may be. And right now, there is currently no efficient way to do that. I mean, people are like, well, you just give them $1. Well, they got to register that. Well, I wonder if paper currency makes it a little easier, but it's still irrelevant. There's no good, efficient way to handle that. We've built up currently a system where if you want to move money between bank accounts, between companies, between, because companies aren't handing another company $20,000. And then as you get inflation and, things cost more, that pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you look at the countries that have serious money problems, they bring wheelbarrows. I mean, this is the exaggeration, obviously, but it is true. The money is worthless. They bring wheelbarrows in to pay for a loaf of bread. That I think that's an exaggeration because then there's really no point in bringing the money. Like, really? Like, what? Okay. So, people don't look at it that way sometimes. But, so to transfer this money around, there's no good way because you got to trust. But right now, there's just delays. So the bank receives that you got to pay this other bank, and then they got to process that. It goes to this other intermediary, and then they approve it because they talk to the other bank, because not necessarily all the banks talk to each other, and blah, blah, blah. So if you've ever been in computers, it's just not the best system. When I say been in computers, if you've looked at how networks really work, they seem connected, but they're really not. And this type of system with blockchains helps alleviate some of that pain. And we'll look at here, hopefully, we got just under, we'll try to end it before 10. So we got about a half hour. Oh yeah, and we didn't even do our intro at the beginning. Man, we are so depressing. I was just like, well, we're not going to get to all the stuff that we said in the first recording that you guys never heard. Horrible. So, to finish up, there is, a lot more investment because you're trying to link all these networks together. And with the blockchain, it helps alleviate some of that pain because now you have multiple nodes. You don't got to wait on one, and you pay a much smaller fee. Things happen so much faster. Unless you're on Ethereum where everything's expensive and slow. And I only say slow because it's relatively speaking. It's not slow, in real world, probably seconds versus, milliseconds on some other networks or something, maybe. I don't know. Because you gotta wait for the block to be approved, and everybody's jockeying for in line, and there's all that because it's like it doesn't happen instantly, and so yeah, exactly. And so the busier the network is, the little slower it is. But we're still not talking like forever. Like if you think of a bank, you got to wait till the next day for your stuff to be posted. Why is that? It's because it's got to go somewhere. It's got to be approved. Sometimes you don't even get all the money for multiple days if it's too large of an amount because they want to make sure they're getting their money and that it's really where it says it's at. If you use the blockchain, all the financial processor has to do is read the blockchain instantly. Instantaneously, they know, is the money there? That's it. So, and when I say instantaneous, yeah, there might be a delay because you got your web browser and you've got slow internet. So that's why there's going to be continued investment. It makes sense. And definitely don't read read between the lines. Read what's going on. Don't read the hype. Don't read the negative, but don't ignore any of it either, because some of it's useful information. And then the uncertainties around regulation we talked about. I'm not going to dive into it, but it's just stuff you can't control unless you're a lobbyist. So claim your. I think the summary is claim your crypto on your taxes because they can trace it eventually. So just know that. Oops. Oh, cool. Whatever. I don't want to show this. I mean, it's not bad, but they'll be able to trace it if they ever link your wallet ID to your name. That's it. So no point in lying about it unless you can get away with it for 7 years. But if you're going to continue to invest in crypto with the same wallet, guess what? You know what I mean? So that's what the summary of this is. Don't worry about regulations and uncertainties. If you got a lot of money in it, ask your financial planners, or if you're doing it yourself. Because I would 100% agree with this. It's still a Wild West. So, but there's no reason for everyday people to worry about it. If you want to buy Bitcoin, buy it. Just claim it on your taxes if you gain or lose on it, especially if you lose, because those are tax breaks. So,
Ooh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. So, that's a good thing.
Yes.
I'm not a tax expert, but I believe you can hold your losses for multiple years before you apply them. You know, there's like a whole little game of it. So that's why you talk to people. But finding financial advisors, which we'll touch on, there's tons of jobs available. Finding financial advisors that can actually intelligently talk about Bitcoin and altcoins and investing and recommending inside and dancing the tax laws are very few and far between. So maybe educate yourself. New job.
There you go. Good job. Financial advisors makes
Yep,
them
but I don't think you'll be able to get
really
picked up by a big company yet, quite yet, because you know they're not technically allowed to
yeah.
do it or something. You know, but there isn't. That's not a gray area that they're not technically. You can still be a personal financial advisor. Make sure you're insured. I would definitely say that. Like, definitely.
Or make sure your person is insured.
Yeah,
Probably even more.
yeah. Your company is whatever. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're looking for a financial advisor, make sure that
Oh yeah, if you're looking for one, make sure. Well, hopefully, yeah. If they're not insured, then they don't take it seriously. I would say that, right? Because everybody's gonna be mad when you lose their money, so you want to make sure you cover yourself. So why in the world would you become a financial advisor and not protect yourself? It just makes sense. So, new NFT strategies. They're gonna emerge. We'll talk about that. We've already dove. 3D artwork. Man, our first half is so much. I'm gonna keep going back to that. The first half is so much better. I'm just like, man. And I didn't even record it. There was multiple levels of fails on that.
Yeah. Well, we did take quite a bit of time off. I think last week was a fluke that we actually
Got it all
did
right.
everything correctly. Yeah. It was like, we had a month break pretty
Yep.
much. Yeah. So
So
not
okay.
quite certain from scratch, but
It felt like it, but it all clicked. Everything was good. Everything worked. We were like, oh, everything starts up. And then this time it's like complete fail. Everything worked except for the connection to the live. So.
yeah.
And the recording and, handful of, like I said, complete fail all around. So who cares? Move on.
Yep.
Um,
On to the next.
so NFT strategies to emerge. We mentioned last week about the picture frame that you can hold up to display your NFTs. Super cool. And it's already your current picture frame. If you bought they're getting ready to integrate MetaMask, which is a wallet, with their picture frames web app. And so the picture frame itself doesn't change, right? It's just the software that runs off of it. And then it allows you to show your awesome NFTs. Ooh. Let's see. I don't think I bring this up. So we're going to take a risk. Yeah, it doesn't show up. Give me a second. I don't know how I'm going to show this. I'll have to. You can see me, right? You get what I'm doing. I'm going to show our NFT picture.
Oh.
So
we're people lucky?
Yeah, people get extra lucky if they stayed tuned through all our struggles of today's stream. Oops, I don't know what I did. They get to see the NFT we're going to be giving away to. I don't know how many do we want to mint? Let's make that announcement. Let's discuss that right now.
Oh.
We're gonna take a second.
We haven't talked about it.
How many? We're gonna make it. It's limited edition.
Yeah.
And we do want to reward the faithful 13. Yep. Or do we want to allow little allowances for the few people that still haven't clicked subscribe? See, we won't have that discussion that we had earlier about our subscribe and like thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I don't know, like 15 or 20, or did you want to do like a lot? Because I mean, to me, like 15 or 20 is limited, right? Mm-hmm. But based on how many viewers we have, that's like extra.
I know, but we know there's a few. Like Rick probably hasn't subscribed and liked or anything, and he might want his free one. But you never know. He'll probably sell his. He'd be something. He'd do that.
he'd have to use the money to buy a new house.
Well, you'd still have your original copy. You'd have
Right.
the number one. So let's say 20.
All right.
Let's go with 20
sounds
because
good
that
to me.
allows 7 more subscribers. So, if we have the next 7 people, once we hit 20, I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll try to see when we get the 20th person. I'll try to watch or something. And then we'll grab the list. And I still don't even know how to view that list. I've tried to look before. And we'll contact you through YouTube directly and try to figure out how we'll transfer that to you. Because we know there's sensitivities around, your wallet. Maybe you don't have one created. We'll try to help you, but we'll do it on a case-by-case basis. I think we can handle 20, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, especially since most of the people we know personally, so we could just be like,
it's probably, you know what? Grandma's
Well,
probably
well,
trolling us. She's probably got like 5 of the accounts. She's trying to be nice and helping us.
That's
Like,
so sweet.
when I say trolling us, because it's actually a negative effect. Because once we find out, we'll be sad.
Will we? I don't know.
Well,
I told my
5
sister
of
that
our
we were doing
13.
a show, and she just said, "Okay."
That's the best. It's the best.
I know.
I love it.
So,
So yeah, no, I would be sad because I'm like excited that we got 13. Like, that makes me happy. And then if I found out it was really only like 8, it's like, oh, well, I guess it would be 9 because one of them would be real. One out of the 5.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah. That's only 4 fake ones.
Yeah, but it's still
I'm
funny.
okay.
That would be funny. So, okay, here we go. You ready for the reveal?
Yeah, we don't have any sound effects. Drum roll, please.
Did that work? We should have had like.
No, just for a second it did, and then
Then
I know
it figured it
our
out.
microphones are actually too good for us because they block out those sounds.
That's exactly it. Here we go. Oh, it didn't work.
No, it didn't work.
That was the best. That's exactly what I was gonna say. The big reveal. No, don't know.
Take your time. No rush.
Take my time. I don't even know how to fix it. Like, I guess we didn't prepare well for our big reveal.
We didn't prepare. Well, we weren't sure if we were gonna show it, and so we're trying to save the show, I think is what's happening.
Nah, let's go back. So we'll continue on. We're gonna see. This actually continues along with the theme of people not getting to see our NFT. So Craig's gonna give me more of a hard time about this.
Yep. This is super funny that we
only
can't
to us
share
though.
the NFT.
Yeah, only to us. So yeah, really cool 3D ones.
Now this is gonna make me nervous, right? Because now we've built it up, and so people are gonna see it. And just so everyone knows, and we'll say it again before we show it, but I made it. I drew it myself. So now there's gonna be all this anticipation about something that I drew, and what if nobody likes it?
They probably won't, but that's okay. That's what people gotta always learn to accept, right? Like,
and that's why
I thought it was cool.
Such good friends.
Yeah.
Your honesty. Oh, okay. Continue.
No. It's cool if people don't like stuff. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it totally is. It's just funny.
and it sucks.
Probably won't.
Yeah. No, and it sucks, right? Nobody's denying that there's like a feeling of a little bit of disappointment, but then it's kind of like that next step, right? We were talking about that earlier. Like, you got to be like, all right, why do people not like it? I like it. That's cool. Not me, but the person that drew it, you're like, I like it, but why do people not like it? And it's like,
I thought you were saying like, I like it. I mean, I don't like it. But,
no.
I was like, oh, no. Thanks, John.
No. But it's kind of like, it is perfectly fine that not a single soul, even your significant other, your partner, or whatever, your friends, your family, like, they'll tell you that it's great and it's wonderful, but you'll read between the lines and they won't like it. But that's okay. They're just trying to be nice. They don't want to hurt your feelings. Not too many people just want to be like, nah, it's not that cool. But because people don't accept that side of it. So yeah, no, it's very possible that not more than, the people that are lying to you that they like it, and nobody else, who knows, but that's why you try harder if you want to. Or maybe you just continue with your crap, and when I say crap, it's your deal. It's like, if you think it's great, I'm sure a lot of famous artists didn't do it because of or a lot of artists in general. They don't do it. They want to. There's probably some sort of internal yearning for like they want everybody to like it, right? Everybody has that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, they're what keeps them painting, what keeps them doing is going to be one or two things: either the constant drive for that acceptance, right, or just because they like it. I like
Yeah.
doing a lot of the stuff I do just because it's fun, it's exciting. You know, I don't do it because I want to become super rich or I want to. Don't get me wrong.
That
I
would
don't
be
I
an
think
awesome
everybody
journey.
wants to win the lottery, but at the same time, you don't keep doing it day in day out. You don't do all the hard work because you don't like things. And if you are, please find a different hobby or
Yeah.
hopefully you get what you want. Like I'm
Well,
guessing
not
you
just
want a big
hobby, but
payday.
your job too, right?
Oh
Hopefully
yeah.
people like what they do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's exactly like my son Link. He loves his new job, and so it's great.
Oh, that's
That's the
awesome.
thing. So it's kind of
Good
like
for
just
him.
yeah, it's just like whatever whatever you do. And I think a lot of the people I've talked to lately, in general, like their job. I don't know. I haven't heard too many people complaining about their job, but you know me,
Hmm.
I talk to tons of people.
You do. You're
All three.
Gabby.
All three. So, all right. So back to the actual thing. We got
Here's the
20-ish minutes. Still sharing NFTs, 3D artwork. We were trying to show it earlier, before the break, or the figuring out our stream is off. Um,
Oh, I found out about this. Do you want me to tell you now or do you want me to tell you
oh,
or
hey, wait, real quick. Let me recap that, and then you tell me. Um,
okay.
so on this page, we were gonna pause on this, and it's just a bunch of public artworks. So if you want to create your own NFTs that are based off of public artworks, don't buy these. Go create your own. Okay, go ahead. That was a
That was
short of the long one.
yeah, that was a really quick recap.
Yep. So good.
So, uh, it was American Gothic that we had up,
Hmm.
and it was, um, it's a father and daughter,
Oh, okay.
and
Yep.
the painting is named for the house's architecture, which is American Gothic. I was always wondering why it was called that. I was trying to figure this out a while ago. It's totally off subject, but you complained earlier this week that I didn't talk enough. Um, that I thought like when you think of like Gothic period, it was in like Europe, like maybe this like would be the American Gothic period. Although I guess if that's the style of the house, maybe. Um,
Yeah. I think
yeah, my
it's
brain
probably
is like
no
working
no.
as I'm talking and
I know
stuffing
it's
my mouth.
tricky. That's the hard part because we got to also apply the right level of filters, right? We got to pick the right
Right.
words. We don't want to sound too silly. I was
Yeah,
going to
I
use
don't
the
have
other more negative word, but it's just silly,
that.
right? And so, it's tricky coming up with things on the fly. And that's what's the beauty of. You'll get authenticness from our live stream.
Yeah.
We prepare to the point of where we can keep it. That's why it's so sad when we lose things because we don't if we don't record it and we can't recreate it. So we will continue to deliver that, but yeah, it's hard to get the words out while you're reading, while you're trying to process, while you're trying to translate. And I applaud all the streamers, even the TikTokers, the successful TikTokers, and anybody that does public domain sharing. I applaud you guys because it takes dedication to do it well. It really does. Like
I
you
think
have.
that's been my favorite part of this whole process. I mean, I love learning all the things that we're going over. Um, but at the same time, it's like it's such an insight and it totally makes me appreciate people that do this and um, people that start out on their own. I mean, I've had Jeff. Well, Jeff, you've been doing everything. I've just been the assistant. Um, but it's it's pretty crazy. It's really I don't know. I think it's really cool that people have been doing this for so long and how young people start out doing this and um anyway, we can move on.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
it is
and it's
very
not like
cool.
we're just discovering it, but until you get insight into how much work everybody thinks it's easy and it's not. And not that we came into it thinking it was easy at all. We already know
It's
from
definitely a lot harder than
it's
we
just
thought.
harder than you even think. So that's what's crazy. And to do cool things, right? I mean, we are doing a video overlay. And so some of our people that we use for inspiration, they have it really cool. And then, and getting all the stuff set up and being remote, multiple locations remote and trying to manage it. We need a uh, what do you call it? A video manager, right? We need somebody, a
Yeah, we
media
totally do.
manager. I forget. I don't know whatever they are, whatever their title
Well, and
is.
I was gonna say I didn't think most people would know, but they would because we know pretty much all of our subscribers at this point. But you and I are across the country from each other, so
Yep. So it's just interesting.
it
And
is
so
very
a
cool.
lot more respect around that. But yeah, forming the words, talking about things on the fly, tricky. So American Gothic, father daughter. Did not know that. The reason we're building up to it, you'll find out eventually. But it's a very interesting thing. But it's all the name of it comes from the architecture. Did not ever know that. Yeah, I guess because it's in America and it's Gothic, right?
Yep.
That's pretty much it. They were like, yep, bam, done. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're in Europe and they're just like, we're gonna use American.
No, it is. It is. Um, painted in America.
Where's the location at? Now we'll make it like super
Uh,
popular.
Eldon,
Oh, geez, they do.
Iowa.
Iowa. Interesting.
Mhm.
Cool. Makes sense. So, 3D artworks. If you can find that 3D one, that'd still be cool. I'd love to bring that up. But don't pause from talking because you're searching. Now we're going over to here. Man, we buzzed through this earlier quicker. Proof of stake. They're switching so these are the trends. I believe we're still in trends for 2022. A lot of your blockchains are going to switch from proof of stake over to or from proof of work over to proof of stake. And that helps alleviate the energy backlash. And we'll talk more about that in the future. And then more blockchain DevOps solutions. We didn't cover that because that's a complicated topic. So we did deep dive a lot into other things, but this time we went into different directions, so it all works.
Yeah.
This is interesting. We hadn't gotten this far. So human resource management is ripe for blockchain integration due to the security and data storage solutions offered. So this would probably be private blockchains, but each employee could have a unique address where all the information would be cryptographically stored. Okay, they'd have to talk more about what would be the use of that.
Yeah. That's. I don't think HR is our specialty.
Yeah, HR's because nobody ever has us work on those systems. Um, yeah, blockchain developer jobs, the gig economy. So, oh yeah. This is where you would find a lot more um, people needing to transfer information, and yep, that's exactly it. Okay, here's how it ties in. So, in the gig economy, you have people getting hired, and you know, they're not permanent employees, right? They're temporary employees. They resemble a lot more of that. You're trying to do just one-off jobs, kind of spot jobs, right? Just that's, I think, the definition of gig, right?
I was just looking it up because I actually hadn't heard that term before. It says
Gig worker. Okay, yeah.
yeah, it says I don't know if this is the best definition, but it's the first one I found. The gig economy involves the exchange of labor for money between individuals or companies via digital platforms.
Okay,
So,
so that's even okay. So that's a little different
so like,
different definition than I thought. Yeah. Go ahead. So like what?
oh, I was just trying to think um so yeah, it was just like, oh, gig, like if you do a show, it's called a gig. So if you're just like doing a gig for a company, what they pay you using
Yeah.
perhaps using
So
blockchain or.
So here's the deal. The reason this would apply to the gig economy. The gig economy is exactly, I think you touched on it very well. If you think about musicians, they'd have a gig, right? Or a comedian.
Hmm.
And they would come to said location and it would just be a one night show. The interaction may never have happened before. There might be a call ahead of time, whatever. But it's not like you have an official contract. And you probably do nowadays to make sure that people don't do silly stuff. But let's just pretend it's back in the day. And well, even with your contract, that'd be kind of cool. So where this would apply is you show up and you got to transfer a lot of information. So you might have done it all under the table before, but people want to be on the up and up and, whatever. And so you would have all your information already on the blockchain. And I would assume you would just give somebody access to it or you would transfer it. You could transfer like your HR information, how they would pay you, all of that. And since that information is on the blockchain, hopefully the payment protocols also are facilitated through that same blockchain. So then, you can kind of, that's where you would manage the employees through. So then when you show up at the gig, you could just quickly transfer all that information with, let's say you built it all into an NFT. I don't know if this is the correct way because it'd be smart contracts, it'd be slightly different, but let's just make it easy because we've been talking about NFTs. And you have an NFT of all your personal information that also includes your bank information, right? So they can pay you. And you could walk up and you could give somebody a limited license to that, right? So inside your NFT, it's encrypted. Let's just pretend, right? So the bank information, they can't actually see it. So if they open up your NFT on some kind of device, it never really shows it. Say it's just some address or something. And that address, wherever it goes, knows how to interact with whatever endpoint. So when you would transfer that information from, say, the bar owner to from the musician to the bar owner, they would get your personal information. It would have all your credentials, all of everything that you're willing to show. Then it'd also have your bank information, maybe some reviews, I don't know. And those would be validated reviews because they would be posted from somebody else on the blockchain, right? And
Uh-huh.
so then you get that all instantly. Then they can open it on their phone. I'm just using phones. It could be computer, it could be whatever. So they open it on their phone and they look, and it has like your picture, has like your regular information. And then if they decide to hire you, they hit hire, right? And basically, I'm building an app right now. That's kind of cool. Um, so then they hit hire, right? And
Uh-huh.
they would hire you, and then they would gain access, not to be able to still view your bank information, but then their NFT, because they're on the same blockchain. And again, I'm not using the correct thing, so don't think you just do NFTs to do it. It's just a piece of the puzzle, but making it easy. They would have their NFT now allowed to talk to your NFT, and they could transfer money from their accounts to your accounts with never having to do anything more than touching your phones together. And it's all super secure because the fact that you've put this information on the blockchain, it's been validated by other peers. So everybody on the network says this is true, right?
Hmm.
The power of that is immense because now everybody automatically trusts it. The moment one of these gets hacked and whatever, that's when all that disappears, right?
Yeah.
But the reason you can't hack it is because you got to change the whole thing, and then it doesn't get validated, and then it doesn't work. It's a really cool little system. So when you make into this agreement with this, I'm sure there's like a little contract that you could have in the middle of it, like saying, "Hey, you agree to perform this for set amount of money," and then at the end of it, if you execute it, then you execute it. Like it doesn't even have to like hit a button. You know what I mean? So I don't know how you'd stop it if you didn't do the contract. But once you've made that agreement with the musician and the bar person, now you have all that information. Since it's a limited NFT timer, then as soon as you're done, you get paid, and then that bar owner doesn't have your information. So there's not a trail of paperwork laying around for somebody to steal your identity, right?
Yeah.
It
That's
just
pretty cool.
disappears. It expires. They have no longer access. They never really had access to much of anything. They don't need that information because they don't have to validate it that it's real because the network itself has validated it's real. So for a gig economy where you're doing a short-term little thing, like where it's like an evolution of a contract worker. A contract worker typically, there's a bunch of paperwork and you're going to work for this amount of time or you're going to fulfill this thing. Kind of the same idea for gig workers, but it's more on a micro level where, multiple people can. That's my interpretation of it. Like, a lot of smaller interactions. They don't have all that huge structure of making sure that all the paperwork and everything's all set up. But if they're working within said networks that everybody's playing within, and it's really a great solution to this. And so you would have all your stuff in one little spot, and you could be able to transfer it. It'd be really cool.
Very cool.
Corporations, employees, blockchains. Want more information now. And then this one was Web3 is not about blockchain or decentralization. I thought this was kind of funny. It is. But a typical argument, the reason I brought this up, a typical argument is that decentralized systems are not really decentralized. For example, most Ethereum users use it through MetaMask or other centralized systems. Yes, it's true. But why is it a problem? The point is not the direct peer-to-peer connections. The point is you have the opportunity to change the provider at any time. So that's kind of one of the things you're not forced into if you think of how kind of phones work or telecommunications. You only have a couple choices because they've worked it all out. Here, the argument is even though you are forced to use it through a certain central point, you can choose to change that up. But what if there's no other options? So I was thinking of it a little differently, because depends who owns the nodes. You got to understand where the information sits, and so that's what we're gonna touch on here in a second. And then we're probably only gonna be on for 10 more minutes or so, or less.
Is what I can do is 10 more minutes.
Yep. So we'll wrap it up. Sorry everyone. No, not because of Darcy, but because we would have been a lot further along not recapping. So I did want to touch on this.
Well, now we have more to talk about next week.
It's so sad. Such a fail today. Not a good learning lesson, right? It's just
every time.
Yeah, it's so funny. And we don't know who's listening and how people interpret things. When we say such a fail, we're so sad. We're just making fun of ourselves.
Yep.
So, Bitcoin related job postings surged. So, for people that are out there that are not happy with their current position, I think, did we talk about that the first time or the second time? But you should definitely, if you're interested in this, look to see what type of jobs are out there and then educate yourself. See if you can get it. Give yourself something to work towards. So keep that in mind. It's not just talking about it. It's not just buying, trading. There's actually jobs where people pay you to do all that. So, we'll finish with, since we're not going to get into MetaMask, we're not going to get into our NFT because I can't figure out how to switch the screens appropriately. We wanted to touch on a new addition that we're going to add in that we haven't done because we've mainly focused on cryptocurrency, some early programming stuff, right? But we want to also incorporate, we're not just cryptocurrency. We are programming and tech in general, right? And science.
Yeah.
So we'll also talk about cool things that we find there. So we'll end with these two topics. Which one do you want to do first? The animals or the neuroscience?
Let's do the animals first.
Okay. So scientists have recently found the largest group. Oh, and next week we're going to talk about the James Webb Telescope too, a little bit.
Ooh.
Scientists have found the largest group of nesting fish ever found living beneath the Antarctic ice. And it was really cool. But what's really, really cool is not only that they found a really healthy population of these ice fish, and and they have a cool story. So we won't link the article. We're looking at an article from Science News that just came out about ice fish. That's what you'll have to search because maybe we'll get the link in there, but we're not making promises.
Probably not.
Probably not because we can't even get our stream started.
Yeah.
And they found an estimated of 60 million active nests. And how they stumbled across it is they got like this video camera pointing down below their boat or out in front of them or some driving robot
Pointed
camera.
at the ocean
But
floor.
yeah, but pointed at the ocean floor. And it's just going along. And this researcher, the story goes, the researchers were all sleeping. It was like the middle of the night and somebody was watching it and saw it and then like left and then came back and like hours of just seeing these little circles, these fish beds on the ground. And they said it was like 6 hours or 4 hours.
You passed it, it's above the picture.
Oh, I passed it. Yep.
Yeah. When is it in the middle paragraph? The next one down?
Right here. Yeah. When I came down a half an hour later, I just saw nest after nest the whole 4 hours of the first dive. I thought we were onto something unusual. And then, based on measurements showing about one ice fish per 4 square meters for hundreds of kilometers. And it's
up above it said that there was like, what did it say? 1,000 eggs per nest.
Oh yeah,
it
right
was
here.
Underneath the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
They lay over 1,000 eggs. That's pure insanity. That's a lot.
And so that's good. And then they go on to talk about how that the seals, there's a seal population, I believe, above them, and they just come down and eat them. And then like all these predators, you can really dive into it, but these predators are on the outside of this because they're protecting it. And the predators are like, they feed on the ones that they can get or the ones that pass away at the edge. And then the ones in the middle, their bodies just lay there. It's like crazy because everybody's protecting their own little spot. And I think the males are protecting it, and then the females, and like everybody swaps out, but it's like a 24/7 because there's like squids trying to get them, all these different things trying to get them. And it's like, it was really cool. And so that's why we wanted to bring that up. So if you wanted to read about it, it was really interesting. And they're in extreme cold water. That's the other thing. So what did it say? It did describe them. Did I dive further somewhere else? I might have. Because their blood was like clear or green. Clear blood.
Weird.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. So, and then the other thing, real quick, that we found was a psionic link. So for those that don't know, Elon Musk is building Neuralink, which gets implanted into your head, which is fine for those that choose to do it. That's cool. And he's having a lot of awesome things come out of it. But one that's a little less intrusive is this project. And there's an open source project out there for a non-invasive EMG. And what this is we're looking at a device that you strap to your arm, and it has a bunch of sensors that you can hook up to it. It looks complicated, but it's probably not too bad. And it's written in Python. And I was just reading about TensorFlow for the machine learning side of things. What it does is it reads the electrical sensors coming from your muscles, and they have an example of it playing a video game, starting and stopping as you push and pull your hand forward and back or something.
That's so cool. Well, and when you and I were talking about this earlier, because when you first mentioned it, the first thing I thought of was with prosthetics, because I've seen like documentaries or articles and things where they talk about doing things like that to get prosthetics to that are more realistic, that gives people more mobility. And what an awesome thing. I mean, once you get like the gaming industry involved, it just seems like it's gonna really explode and hopefully lower prices and further the technology too for people that need it, not just for gaming, but just to have a better quality of life. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Very well put. And that's the really cool thing. So hopefully somebody if somebody wants to donate this to our team, we would be happy to demo it. And if not, if somebody wants to take on this project, because I imagine it's not crazy expensive, but if anybody wants to take on this project, we'd be happy to work with you on it. We don't know what we could offer, but advice, good pat on the back, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, we're good cheerleaders.
Yeah,
Well, I am
we'd be
anyway.
like, hey, you're doing a good job. That's a good line of code you just wrote. Yes, very solid.
You should be very proud of yourself.
Yes.
Keep up the
Good
work.
use of the if statement there. That would be awesome. But we may take up this project depending on what else we do, because I think it's interesting. I've always been interested in this. I've always been interested in like the ones they stick on your head, but this one seems a lot more accomplishable than trying to read brainwaves. I don't know, and it would be a good build up to doing that. So because it's probably all the same.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
So all right, well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
If you didn't join us, then you missed out on an excellent first half and an okay second half. But you'll never know what you missed on the first half because pretty much nobody will besides us.
Yeah, you missed a lot.
Next week, what are we doing next week? Oh, we didn't. We make promises and don't keep them. Didn't we say we were gonna do the let you choose this week? Next week, we're gonna show everybody our NFT.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll get that all set up prior.
You're saying for
sure. The dogs wanted to be a part of the show.
And they want to say yeah, right? And then yeah. So we'll actually start. We'll do our crypto recap or our recap in science and technology news. Let's just make it more general. Yep. And then we will go into finally creating our wallet, talking about that a lot more. And hopefully, if you are currently subscribed and you have a wallet, please contact us. If you do not and you need help setting up your wallet, we want that to be available because we would love to have somebody be able to say, yeah, I actually got the NFT. And these people don't just make it up week after week.
So. Yeah, well.
And if there's somebody that's willing to accept a small bribe to say that, we'll take that too.
I think that's just an ad, right?
Just an ad. Something like that.
It's not a bribe.
It's just an ad. Oh, so funny. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you next Saturday, same time.
Yep.
Same channel.
Same time.
Maybe it'll be on.
Not the same time. 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Not the same time as today. The same initial perceived time.
The same.
And I think we're gonna get better about posting ahead of time instead of finding out like the evening before or whatever. So.
Yeah. Well, things have been funky lately.
Well, no, it's just because we also don't really think about that. We just hit the start button and then expect to be able to go.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.